It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Hi, everybody. I am Coach Krazy Cat on the Journey Through Stuck channel with the Divas That Care Network. And you can follow all the beautiful divas at www.divasthatcare.com. Today, I am super blessed and grateful to be jumping on with my new friend, Rachel O'Neill. And she has such an amazing, amazing, amazing story to share with you guys about the impact they're having through an organization named Little Dresses for Africa. And you can check out that organization at littledressesforafrica.org. And just wait till you see the pictures of the little girls and all the dresses. And we're going to hear from Rachel in a second about her story, but they have 3 sewing centers, and in the 15 years since they've been in business, they've delivered 8 million dresses to 97 countries, and they've built, I think it was 62 wells, right, Rachel? Wow, and 3 schools. So it's pretty incredible. So welcome. I'm so excited to be on with you today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to share.
So tell us a little bit about how you got started on this 15 years ago.
Well, it certainly came by surprise. I went to Africa on my 50th birthday with my husband, just for a safari. We thought we were going on a holiday, but it turned out to be a lot more because I just fell in love with Africa. And I had always been drawn to the country. You know, I wore cheetah print way before it was popular. And but when I got there, man, it was just everything I thought it would be. The music, the textures, the colors. I loved it. And then I had an opportunity to go back and work with a group for 16 days in Malawi. And that's actually where Little Dresses for Africa was born. It was really just sitting in the red dirt of Malawi. I especially was touched by the plight of little girls and women. They do the majority of the work, regardless of what you hear. It's not just words. They actually do all the cooking. They do the planting, the harvesting, the carrying of water. It just seems like everything, even with the baby on their back most of the time. And yet when we were feeding them, when it came time to eat, the little girls, without even thinking, just went to the back of the line. And if they ran out of food, well, okay, the men and boys had eaten. And there just was such an injustice to that I just couldn't stand it. And so I knew I can't change the social structure of Africa, but I thought, boy, I'm going to do something to plant in the hearts of these little girls that they're worthy. That was my simple plan. I just wanted to bring back something for them. And we thought, well, little dresses. We'll just put little dresses on these girls and say, you're worthy, you're valuable. And that's how it started. And once we got going, you know, people jumped in, and I admit straight up that this is not me, because I don't sew. I still don't sew 15 years later, but there are so many good people out there that do. And it's a way to really physically help change the mindset of these young ones.
Such a beautiful, beautiful story.
Thank
so,
you.
So tell us a little bit about maybe when you go over and you meet the girls and you take the dresses. How many trips have you gone on, and what is the response?
Well, before the pandemic, I was going 2, sometimes 3 times a year. So I've been quite a lot. I've been to several countries in Africa, but our work as far as the schools and the wells and the sewing centers are all in Malawi, so that I can go back and we can actually check on them. So I lead short-term trips there, usually 12 to 14 people twice a year. And we go over and we actually work there. It's not a vacation, trust me. We distribute the dresses. We check on the wells that have gone in. We open them. We provide relief through widows, and we call it something called buckets of hope. And we bring buckets into the widows and those suffering from AIDS or child-headed families. Like there might be a 6-year-old girl that is in charge of her 2 little brothers, or and she's got to go carry the water. And so that's why the wells are important, so that these kids can stay in school and they're not carrying water all day long. So we go there, and the distributions are humongous. I mean, they're thousands of people. And so we've got it down to kind of a science, but what we try to do is touch their lives through these little dresses. And relationships are formed, and we go back to those villages based on our relationships that are formed. And then we focus on clean water, education, and community. The clean water saves lives immediately. We have to keep them alive before we can get them in school. And so then we try to get a primary school close by and help them with education, preschools, very basic. I don't want you to think it's a big, huge building. It's just a basic building, but then we send our 40-foot containers over twice a year, and they're full of school supplies, shoes, medical supplies, wheelchairs, desks when we can get them, just anything that'll help the projects that we already, that we have. So that's kind of how we do it. And then the water is of course good for sanitation, for hygiene, health, drops disease, that kind of thing. But it's also really a step toward education because it keeps the girls in school. They an average of 5 miles each way to go get the water and then to carry that back. And it's heavy. Water is so heavy.
Yeah.
And so we definitely have tried to focus on water along with the school.
Wow. So beautiful.
Yeah, it's been great.
I'm sure some of the listeners are going to want to get involved. So what is the best thing? What do you need most? Do you need people to sew or provide money or?
Money, always money, because, but the sewing is great. We have people sewing all over the world now. We have if you look online, there's other locations. Like if you're in, we have them in Brazil and Italy and the UK. And so people can sew and send them to those places, and they send them directly to names that I give them. But here in the US, you can sew from anywhere and then send them to us in Michigan. Any size dresses, simple patterns is the best. So you don't have to be fancy. You don't have, we love it when they're pretty. I'm not going to tell you that we don't, but they don't have to be elaborate. The little sundresses without buttons and zippers are the best because they can't fix them there. So we need to keep it simple. We also need lots of boys' shorts. They can be store-bought. For some reason, it's up to you to determine what that is. They don't tax us on boys' clothes. But if you buy girls' clothes, we can't get them there. So the boys' shorts are fine, whether they're new, used, or homemade, are great. We also have, and then you mail them to us in Michigan. And then we do fundraisers. We love it when people include checks. We're a 501c3, so they're tax deductible, to get them to Africa. Because I always say our job is not complete till they're actually on the backs of these children. It feels real good to sew, and we love it and we appreciate it, but we have to get them to the children. And so that's a missing piece. And if you don't sew, write a check. I am not afraid to ask for that, because it's not for me, it's for these kids, and it really makes a difference, really does. There's also another program that you can check online called the Dignity Program. The Dignity Program is washable menstrual pads. There's a huge taboo there about the process of menstruation, and we were finding, just on the ground when we were there, we were finding that the young girls were quitting school when they started their periods because they couldn't manage them. They didn't even have rags to use. So we started providing just a very simple washable menstrual pad, and we give those out with fresh panties, and we talk to them about not being ashamed and that this is a natural function and it's God's plan. Someday you'll have children, and children are very, very important in Africa. They're not only their heritage, but they also are helping hands in the field. They're also their retirement, plan, and just so many things that children are very important. Of course, they love them just like we do. They're no different. When their children die, just because they're more familiar with childhood death does not mean that it hurts any less. So we try to do things that will encourage the long-term feeling of these children, especially girls. We do focus on girls, although we don't ignore the boys.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Such an amazing organization. And
thank you.
I know some of our listeners are going to help. You've definitely touched my heart today. And
thank you.
I love it. So for anybody who's on, to make sure that you have where to get in touch with Rachel, it's at littledressesforafrica.org. And you talked about the Dignity program. Is that on? Can we find out about that on your?
Everything's online. There's a drop down at the top of the web page that has patterns. It has an explanation of why we do what we do, who we are, the background of Little Dresses, whole lots of really good pictures of the children and those people that we try to support. And it's just been honestly an honor. I know we can't change the world. We cannot change the social structure. We can't feed everyone there, although we do a lot of feeding programs through the community effort, especially at the refugee camp right now. Because of the pandemic, there have been a lot of people that were pushed out of the city back to the refugee camp. So they're hungry. And anything that people give to us, if you tell me you want it to go for Bibles, it's going to go for Bibles, every dollar. If you say education, it's going to go for the schools or the sewing center or the food program. Anything you do, I have it very categorized, and I've got to say I'm diligent about making sure that it goes to the exact program that you want. Because I feel like that's the reason that we've been blessed is we are really, we're honest and we're going to get it to the people. That's what we do, because my heart is in Africa. It really is in Africa. So it's been an honor. It really has been my pleasure, and there's still a lot to do. So we're going to do it.
It's been an honor being on with you, and you're just a light.
Thank you.
And I just appreciate
you
sharing.
If people have questions, they can write me at Rachel, Rachel, at littledressesforafrica.com, and I'll write you back myself. I answer all my emails. When you send your dresses, include a self-addressed envelope. I'm going to drop a note to you and let you know that I got them. And we're not going to run out of kids. We get a lot of boxes every day. So if you ask me, did you get my box? I might not know till I check my records, because we get 20, 30 boxes a day. But I can tell you that we will not run out of children. There's 16 million people in Malawi alone. And Malawi's the size of New Jersey. Half of those are under the age of 14. So trust me when I tell you that there are mission groups going that we supply dresses for all over the world. And even here in the United States, we have been able to share our blessings with the Appalachia area, with just South Dakota, a lot of places here. And then even this winter, during the really cold here in Michigan, we were able to share blankets and shoes and boots for the homeless here in Detroit. So it really does affect the entire world when you get involved with us, and we would love to have your help. I can't do it alone, I can tell you that.
So beautiful. So for the listeners, make sure you reach out to Rachel. There's all kinds of places we can connect, and I'll have all the links on there so you can get in touch with her and ask more questions about how to support this incredible organization. I thank you so much for your time, Rachel. It's been so
Thank you for the opportunity to share. I really appreciate it. God's blessings to you.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.